Alright, good morning everyone. This is Nicole Ali. Another video from Forbes.com. A tale of two power plants. One nuclear plant gets the go-ahead while one coal plant gets the axe. This was published a couple of days ago. And I'm just going to break it down real quick. This is all about money. Money, money, money. They have a quote here from the Charles Dickens book called A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. And truer words could never have been spoken. This is definitely the age of foolishness we're in, based on whose administration we have to deal with. So recent decisions about the future of two large power plants could have striking implications for the Trump administration's efforts to bolster nuclear and coal-fired power. For proponents seeking to move forward with construction of two new units at the Vogtle nuclear power plant near Augusta, Georgia, late September 2018 was the best of times because they was rolling in the money. The owners of the plant agreed to a cost-sharing deal that would continue a project that is already 5 years behind schedule and nearly double its initial cost estimate of $14 billion. If completed, Vogtle will be the first nuclear power plant built in the U.S. in more than 30 years and will become the nation's largest nuclear generating facility when combined with the existing two units on site. So these people clearly don't learn anything from Fukushima. They don't learn anything from some of the potential leaking that's occurring at the power plants in North Carolina and South Carolina after the recent Hurricane Florence that came through and that dropped down to a Category 1 and then a tropical storm. They haven't learned nothing. These people are just, I just can't. Anyway, let me come down some. So similar cost and revenue concerns led to the scuttling of construction on the Summer nuclear plant in neighboring South Carolina in 2017. At about the same time, Summer abandoned its efforts. Vogtle's owners, a consortium of utilities led by Southern Company, decided to push forward with their project. By and large, Vogtle could continue when Summer could not, because its owners had greater financial capacity to handle the losses. That means they have more money to fuck around with. So this capacity is neither unlimited nor evenly distributed. The Vogtle deal required the largest share owner, Southern, to absorb a disproportionate cut of any future cost overruns that arise and thereby cap the losses of its smaller partners, Oglethorpe Power Municipal Electric Authority of Georgia and Dalton Utilities. They also needed the consent of the MEAG and Oglethorpe, who drew out the negotiations until the very end and were subject to a fair bit of political pressure. In a letter to Vogtle's owners on September 21st, the Department of Energy expressed that while the decision to continue is at its heart a commercial matter, it will have a profound impact on the U.S. nuclear industry and a reputational mark on the ability of American industry to complete important and complex infrastructure projects. Moreover, the DOE letter reminds the owners that it has disbursed approximately $5.6 billion of an $8.3 billion DOE loan guarantee that would need to seek recourse for loan repayment should the owners decide not to continue, a cost that could cripple the operators. So the DOE, Department of Energy, they already got the EPA out the way, pretty much. They pretty much on lockdown. But the DOE, Department of Energy, is where a lot of this comes from, because you're dealing with nuclear energy versus coal energy. And what they're doing, I'm just gonna go ahead and sum this up so I can get on, because I know this is Forbes magazine, so a lot of the information is very dense and a lot of things you have to look up to really understand what's going on behind the scenes. But it's important for us as Black people to start reading these heavy articles. That's why I'm putting them out there more often. Not just science, but looking at it from a political standpoint as well, because, you know, politics is really the art of the possible. If you can think it, you can do it. Science is about understanding the art of the divine. So you mix the art of the divine with the art of the possible, and you can get a mess. Okay, because when you deal with the art of the possible, that's the man's possible thing, and that is always gonna have some flaws to it. The art of the divine can be dangerous, can be deadly, but that's something that deals with science, where you're trying to help people. You're trying to determine, you know, how this happens, try to figure out questions of the universe. That's really what you're doing as a scientist, as in a science aspect. This has science wrapped all up in it, because you're dealing with radioactive isotopes and elements at the atomic level that can help you or kill you. And usually in this case, when they are not controlled, because these elements, these radioactive elements have to be controlled. They are of an antimatter type of frequency. They have to be contained. They have to be controlled. And they talking about the money of it. And they're asking here, is this a sign of the times? They say, although these recent decisions produce a split decision for proponents of each plant, it seems unlikely the government can bat .500 on future efforts to favor the building of new pressurized water reactor nuclear plants of Vogtle's type, or maintain large aging coal plants. Government efforts to support nuclear and coal plants on a transactional basis will continue to face strong headwinds from market forces and other policy goals. Only time will tell if the Vogtle and Navajo decisions will reflect an age of wisdom or age of foolishness. And y'all already know the answer to that. So, I don't know. Oh, this is recommended things at the bottom. They don't have any comments down here. So this is Forbes, so you probably won't have no comments. But yeah, I hope that you all read through this and get a better understanding of what's really going on. They're letting one power plant become nuclear to build that plant, and the other one, another coal plant, is going to be shut down. And I think the reason they want to do this is the government can better control nuclear plants. You don't need people who you can't use people with a GED or high school diploma to run these nuclear plants. You have to have a higher level of education and experience. You have to have a higher skill set. So all these people going out here, yeah, we need coal. Yeah, Trump gonna bring coal. He gonna bring back coal energy. Bring back the coal jobs. He ain't doing shit. Bringing back your coal jobs. He's not gonna do it. If you're discussing giving a nuclear plant the go ahead to be built, the first one in 30 years to be built, and the first of many to be built, because they don't refurbish these plants. They have to build a new one. So if you do that, and that means for every coal, let's just say for every nuclear plant, a coal plant gets the axe. I see bad days ahead for some of the high IQ individuals. You know, I see the opioid plague getting worse too, because jobs are just going to collapse. Because you have to understand, these nuclear plants, coal plants, processing centers, distribution centers, these are like the lifeblood of a lot of these little towns in the U.S., you know, in middle America. So you lose a coal plant, whew, that could be devastating to a little rinky-dink hick town, you know what I mean? So anyway, hope it wasn't too heavy. Take your time and read the article. Take your time and read some of the related articles in Forbes. And I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Remember, if it's in Forbes, some of this stuff has already been decided upon. And they put these articles in Forbes magazine because they know the people that it's going to affect the most ain't going to read Forbes. I holla.